Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Nova Holistic episode 23. My name is Dijana, and I'm going to introduce my wonderful guest today. I cannot wait to see what we unpack in our conversation today. But before I do that, I again just want to welcome you to Nova Holistic and just really quickly tell you. No, this particular podcast is actually about all things new and holistic, primarily about a holistic way of being in the world, having that holistic filter of considering your mind health and well-being, your emotional health and well-being, your physical health and well-being, and your spiritual health and well-being. So with that present as our intention for this conversation, as always, let me now introduce you to my wonderful guest, Stephanie Martinez Rivera. Did I pronounce that right?
You certainly did. Thank you so much. You said it correctly, my friend.
Wonderful. Welcome, sweetheart. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
I can't believe we're doing this. I was waiting patiently.
Yes, because it's been a while since we initially spoke. I think we initially
Yes,
connected at the end of last year, so in
yeah,
December. So
yeah,
it's been a few months, but
yeah.
here we are now,
Here we are.
and I can not wait to have this really juicy, wonderful conversation with you today.
I am very excited. Where would you love to begin?
I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself to start off with. Just anything that you feel would serve this conversation, in the spirit of that intention that I described before.
I got it. So I am a lifelong learner and curiosity seeker. Um, Proud mama bear of three wonderful adults and a new grandma, which is the cherry on top. I
Oh
can't
my
stand the kittens,
God.
and I wish that on everybody. Um, yeah, and it's funny whenever I say I am, it's just I'll say roles or titles, but it certainly never defines who Stephanie is. But I am a wife to my husband Bob. We've been married for 39 years, together 40 something. Good God, yeah, three great kids. I also am a podcast host.
Mm,
My podcast is called Joy Found Here. Spoiler alert. That's kind of what it's kind of my groove.
mhm.
I still do work 9 to 5, and it's something that I do enjoy, but I'm starting to really dig the podcast and the people like you that we get to
Mm.
connect with and meet and learn from. So that's kind of where I'm gonna probably exit stage right and then just jump and then just jump. So that's a
Mhm.
little something about me.
That's amazing. I noticed myself in my body have this beautiful response in when you said joy.
Mm.
I find joy to be one of those divine, heart-centered attributes that transmute dense energy the quickest.
Mhm.
The second you laugh, or something makes you giggle, or you see a kid down the road doing something silly and you just smile, or someone says good morning
Mhm.
and they bring a smile to your face
Correct.
and you don't even know who they are, instantly there's a shift there's like an instant alchemy. The whole self responds to this power of joy.
Mhm.
I love that you mentioned joy. I knew we were going to instantly go to something really,
And so
really
it's been.
special. So here we are. Yeah, 2 sentences in, and here we are.
And here we are. Yes, yeah.
So
It
let's unpack joy. In tarot, joy reminds me of the Sun card. I don't know
Mhm,
whether you do
mhm.
tarot or whether you know about tarot.
Semi-familiar. I need to know. Again, the curiosity
Mhm.
seeker in me
Mm,
always wants to know more. I will always, be interested in what the card is drawing today, and
mm.
never surprised at the yeah, just I don't like coincidence, because it's not. It's just the, oh, okay, uh-huh. It's my
Beautiful
duly
synchronicity.
noted. Duly noted.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's not spot on at that moment, but let's see.
Mhm.
Stay open.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not saying that just because
Mhm,
I want to talk about tarot or anything. I
mm,
just had this vision as I was talking about it of the kid of the sun card in the tarot,
mhm,
because it depicts a child sitting on the back of a horse and sort of being really playful and looking up at the sun. So it's also sort of the sunny outlook, I guess,
mhm,
is what I'm relating it to.
mhm.
And uh, and many ways in which those archetypal energies can be used for overall health and well-being, but also a way in which we can choose to be in the world, right? So let's unpack joy then. Why joy for you? Tell me about that.
So, the name actually, came quite accidentally, but my backstory is, I like to, if I really thought about it, I guess, find joy in everything that life has to offer.
Hmm.
I wake up in the morning and I'm extremely grateful, and I'm thanking, the Lord above. Thank you for another day. When I was 24 and pregnant with my first daughter, my mother at age 52 passed away. So
Oh my
that
goodness.
put me in a very big perspective very early, of knowing just how fragile everything is, and just I want to just soak it all in. Soak it in while you can, and we do have a choice. You spoke earlier of that. We Yeah, it's free will, and you have that choice to either be like, wow, this really sucks. This is just the worst. This is just, or I wonder what the lesson is. And
Hmm.
it's the blue clouds in the sky and the sun shining through. Those little things, just they make me happy. Am I ecstatic the whole day? Am I skipping? No, I'm not. But even when people want to perhaps um put their unhappiness on me, or just come across with their mood or what have you, it's just so much easier to, remember a little compassion, and because I just choose
Hmm.
joy and happy. Happy is kind of
Hmm.
fleeting. I think joy is kind of a little more set in it. But happy is good, but it's kind of like
Mhm.
runs through you.
Mhm. Mhm.
But joy can like sit on your shoulder and hang out with you for a while.
Yeah. See, the way yeah, I was just thinking exactly the same thing as you said it, how joy is a state of being
Mhm.
and happy is an emotion, which
Yeah,
is energy in motion, which
right.
which is that flow. So it just kind of comes in and
Yeah.
goes out, whereas joy is a state of being,
Yeah. So I
a conscious
usually
state of being.
but
Yeah.
I usually am there to remind people of, how good they have it, and just to kind of reframe things. So when it was coming time, especially when I was starting my podcast like 3 years ago, I always thought I knew what the name of it was going to be. Like I had it down pack. I'm like, this is going to be, and I even forget what it was because it didn't turn out to be that name. Obviously, I think it was going to be like Get Unstuck with Steph or something, some play on words, until when I was Googling, like someone had the name, or it was, I couldn't get the website or something like that. And I was on a deadline because I was taking this course that, okay, kind of put up or shut up. And as I have my breakdown, again, and ironically, from the ash comes, because then I'm like, oh, Stephanie, you have this. Come on, I've had years of learning. I have so many good pieces in my toolbox that I can, really pick myself up. And I did. And I'm like, okay, what message do you want to bring? And I literally just started scribbling on my pad, and I wrote the words, joy is found here. And it kind of, because it starts with us.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew?
Yeah, I love that. How long has it been since you've had your podcast? And tell us again what it's called. I want to write it down and get it right.
Okay. So we're entering my third year. So we
Wow.
started in 2021, the beginning of 21 or the end of 20. Everything is a blur. And it's called Joy Found Here.
Yeah, love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just on a little footnote, I guess, will please feel free when this episode airs, in the comments to add, or just send me all of that information
Oh,
so I can
absolutely.
add it
Oh,
to the
great.
comments and the
That would
notes.
be
Okay.
wonderful. Thank you. I
Wonderful.
certainly will.
And if you ever need a guest, just let me know. I'd love to return the favor.
Absolutely. It's happening. It's happening. Such a great thing about the connection that we have with this is a few things. Number one, I started right before turning 60. I mean, and I want to be like the walking, living proof that it is so never too late for anybody.
Yeah.
I thought about it for 3 years at least. I love podcasts. My kids got tired of me saying, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to start one. And I realized, I'm like, I would really call them out if they were going to say they were going to do something and they didn't. And believe me, they were doing that to me. And finally I've said, okay, I don't even know how to begin, but I made myself accountable, and best thing that ever happened. So yeah, I didn't realize I would love it as much. I'm not sure how you love it, but I didn't realize I would be talking with people from all over the world, from all over the United States. I'm located, a small town in New York. I'm in Long Island, New York, where, I'm an hour from the Hamptons. Maybe people know that, or Manhattan. I'm an hour in either direction. I'm smack in the middle of Long Island. I think I sound very New Yorky. I think I have a Long Island accent and all of that. And it's just been a great opportunity to meet such interesting people with wonderful stories and talents to share.
As you're talking, I'm kind of getting the feeling of there's been a lot of becoming, but the feeling I get at the moment anyway is this kind of sense of more of arrival into truly who you are. And what I'm wanting to ask you about a little bit more, if you don't mind sharing, is maybe you mentioned a breakdown, like a little bit of your actual journey, your emotional journey, your mental journey, and what, how did Stephanie become this beautiful, extraordinary woman that started podcasting at 60?
So I will say that's a great question first. And then also, there are many versions. I've gone through many revisions. I've gone through, I had children in my early 20s. I had my son in my 30s. got lost in my 40s, and
Mm.
then decided, because I was not Stephanie, I was somebody's mom, I was
Mm.
somebody's wife. I certainly didn't know who the heck I was. And I
Mm.
was playing small and making sure everybody else was okay.
Yeah.
And this was around the time that the movie The Secret came out. And I was a believer and a follower before there was a name to it, the law of attraction. I
Mhm.
never knew that until I'm
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, but I've always believed that. But I've always, like now they're telling me this is really something. So got really involved with that and was lucky to take what was supposed to be a 6-week course on, delving into the secret, and that turned into a 14-year connection and odyssey of a wonderful group therapy that we, as a collective, with a dozen other women, all strangers 14 years prior, and now, just life partners. We're one. It's so interesting how at that later stage in life, um, you don't think you need help or support, and yet it shows itself. So with that, with my group, I learned a lot and got the tools and a lot of different versions of it's okay when your knees buckle, but don't, stay, have a short little pity party, but you can do it. And just to always remind ourselves of the strength that we do have. So I've had again 1,000 revisions. I went back to work full time after working for myself for many years at 51.
Mm.
Who does that? And I'm still find myself there 11 years later, still loving what I do. Um, but that was a whole revision, and it's funny. I had written a like an end of year summary, which is some of the things we used to do in our group, about about it, the year that I had, and it started with, I called it my manifesto because it started with the using the suffix.
Oh no, you just froze. Oh no. Please don't go.
Of RE, which is duo. No, okay, back.
Oh, I can hear you now. Again, sorry, it's dropping out a little bit. I don't know if it's you or if it's me. It's probably me. Um, so while Stephanie is frozen with that beautiful smile, um, I just want to say how interesting it is that this is like, I think the third or fourth time in this last week that I've heard people talk about The Secret. What is it about The Secret that's being revisited now? Oh, okay. I'm sure she's going to come back. So I'll just talk for a minute. Hello. um, yeah, I wonder what it is about The Secret that's being revisited. What I'm sort of feeling and intuiting is that the principles initially offered to the collective around manifestation are now deepening, and people are beginning to understand manifestation in a different way now. Hmm, that's so interesting. Where are you, my love? I hope everything is okay at her end. Mm. Okay. So for those of you that don't know what the secret is, let me see if I can. Let me see if I can give you the date when was the secret. There you are, my darling.
Um,
Hello, welcome back.
hello.
I just kept talking because I was saying while you were away. Oh, you're frozen again. Oh no. Are you there, my honey? You're there, but you're still frozen. Okay, you're dropping in and out. I don't
I
know whether
know.
it's. Oh, here you are. Okay,
Okay.
you're back.
Okay. So you kept talking.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was talking and I was just saying that it's so interesting. Oh, you froze. Oh, no, there you are. It's so interesting that in the last week, I've had about 3 or 4 people talk to me about The Secret. Like, I haven't heard anybody talk about The Secret, like, for years and years and years, and all of a sudden, more people are talking about The Secret again, and
Isn't
so
that
I
so
was
funny?
just
Yeah.
Googling, when did The Secret come
Yep.
out? And the
Mhm.
book was published in 2006, closely followed by the documentary then, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Mm,
it was such an interesting time. This
mm,
and yeah, so all those years later, yeah, you know, and it's taken on again a life of its own, The Secret. So yeah, no, it's I mean that book sold how many billions of copies and how many millions and billions of people watched it and then, you know, really went on to make careers and livelihoods from it, and still do.
mm. Yeah, it certainly played its role, its bigger role of, uh, igniting that spark within, to awaken more of the collective in terms of these, metaphysical ideas.
Yeah, no, it definitely, you know, I think open well, at first, I mean, for me, put a name on it, you know, because I think a lot of people probably have thought it, you know, very positively, like, you know, you again, everyone had a choice. It's like I always chose the better outcome. You know, it takes so much energy to be pissed off. It takes so much energy to stay mad. I've tried. And it's only good for a little while. It's got a shelf life on it, and then it has to
Mhm,
it's gotta leave. It's gotta show at the door
mhm,
because it's
mhm.
life is too short for that crap. It really is.
Yeah, yeah. So when you talk about the secret for you, you've mentioned one aspect of it now,
Mm.
meaning choosing to see things in a more positive way as
Mhm,
opposed to staying in,
mhm.
disharmony, essentially, right?
Right.
In
Correct.
being pissed off and
Mhm.
all of that. Um, is that how the principles of the secret primarily helped you, or was it in other ways as well? Because there are several things that The Secret kind of discusses.
Correct. So, I mean, it's really I'll say maybe it's the secret might start and be the catalyst for like,
Mhm.
"Stephanie, what's your mindset? What's all this chatter going on in here? And would you
Right.
ever say that out loud? And would you ever say that to someone you loved? I.e., hey, what about this girl here in
Mhm.
the mirror?" So once,
Mhm.
you know, that becomes clearer, and you really practice being kind to yourself, it's then easier to, you know, I think show the better side to people, from an authentic standpoint, not from, "Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah," and then the minute the person leaves, you're like, "Oh my god, can you believe what" when it starts with you, people get the excess.
Mm. Yes, yeah. That kind of the image I get when you talk about this is that cup spilling over. It's
Mhm,
like you got to
mhm.
fill up your own cup first, and then
Right,
you've
right.
got so much to give when your
They
cup
only get
is.
the
Yeah,
overflow, and,
yeah.
once you get that idea, and again, go back to the airlines tell you with the oxygen mask, and it's so cliche, it's so overused, but it's so true, and still so many
Mm.
people, we don't get you don't get the gold star or the gold medal because, you're eating the crumbs from a plate. No, you can sit at the table, and yes, you can take care of other people, but you can also take care of yourself. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing.
Yeah. Do you think that this idea of taking care of yourself, like, and this almost feeling like it's selfish,
Oh
that
god.
the take care of yourselves, do you think that that's more generational?
I do believe now, again, having just turned 62, believe me, my mother and my aunts would never, go for massages, go get pedicures, go and do whatever made them feel good, or who had time, or was there even those services. When I started doing that, I did always or try to take time for me. I would, even when my kids were younger, I would go maybe once or twice a year and with girlfriends for a weekend. And,
Mhm.
believe me, some women would, like, "Oh, but my kids." I'm like, You're lucky you're married and they have another parent in the house."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, hey, what about that guy? Can he
Mm.
not take care of his children? Or,
Yeah.
but so many women, they wear it like a badge, but what does it get you? And what are you showing your kids? You're not worthy. You're not important. Uh,
Yeah.
and it's interesting because the group I was telling you about, um, that we would meet every Thursday night. So
Mhm.
every Thursday night for 14 years. So
Mm.
when my kids were still on the younger side, and there were, school music concerts and sports and whatever. Well, if it was on a Tuesday night, have a great day, do good, tell me all about it when I get home because I have group.
Yeah.
And it took the family, maybe within 3 months, they realized, they're like, "Oh, she's really putting this as a priority." And
Mum means it.
to the point where I felt good. I trained them because they're like, "Oh, is it Tuesday? Oh, that's right, Tuesday." They didn't even have to say, "Are you going?" They'll be like, "Oh, it's
Yeah.
Tuesday," with a,
Yeah.
like, nod of the head. I'm like, "Uh-huh, uh-huh, yep, it's group night. You're
Yeah.
right. You're right, it's group."
Mm.
So, I like that they got it. And yeah,
Mhm.
and there's no shame in that because again, go back to, how can you give any part of you if you're not 100%?
Mm.
If you're not
Yes.
100%, what are they going to get?
Because, as you're talking, what I'm hearing in your tone and in your story is I'm hearing that a dedication to something that is for yourself
Mhm.
is it's not a luxury,
No.
it's a discipline and it's a dedication, it's a commitment, meaning that most commonly we think of commitment being to others, but commitment
Mm,
to yourself is just as important, if not more,
yeah,
because it's less,
yeah,
there's less, so in society, there seems to be I mean, not so much now, but traditionally, there's less prevalence or importance put on the commitment and the relationship that you have with yourself, right?
Absolutely. But
Excuse me.
nowadays, I mean, thankfully, some of the mood I want to say has switched, and
Yeah.
there still needs to be more. And the fact that people, again, the McJudger is out there that may say, "Oh, wow, that's a little selfish." Like, "Oh, she's doing that for her." Yeah, she
Mm,
is. She absolutely
mm.
is. And I my and they'll say what they're going they people, they'll say what they're going to say. They'll believe what they wanna believe, and that's it. I nod my head and duly noted, "Uh-huh," and go on. Any opinion, it's their opinion. It has no effect on me.
Mhm.
I need to definitely do me. And when I am at my best, then I can better serve.
Mm. Do you still see that a lot around you, like those naysayers um, that have like that really strong critic because they still carry that old energy of how it should be?
So these should be naysayers, usually disguise themselves as family members. Start there. Let's start with that. They're usually your closest.
Standing ovation.
Because the family that you can't choose, but you can choose your friends.
Mhm.
But you encounter people in different walks of through different channels of life. And you might work with people, they might be your boss, where you can
Mm,
just say, you can just tell they're unhappy. and
mm.
and it's maybe no fault of theirs. Maybe they just, that's just, they weren't even shown love, whatever it is. And
Yeah,
I can you feel bad and a little compassion, and sometimes even that won't penetrate their belief system, and that's okay. It doesn't
yeah.
affect me. It does.
Mm,
I'm going to take it away. My Have a nice day. I can try. I'll be kind. I'll be polite. If I'm, if you're still telling me to keep walking, don't even look. Okay, you got it. I'm not
yeah,
on a life mission to, like, everybody needs to be happy. And no. Uh, Starts with me. I can smile
yeah.
while I talk on the phone. I can, thank people for their work, what they're doing. Nobody wakes up wanting to, serve you the coffee at the Starbucks window. They're there because they have to work. I get it. We all do. Have
Mm,
a nice day. There's no room for rudeness. There really is no reason for that. But as far as I'm sorry, go back to your question of, there's still a couple of people love to, if they're insecure, if they're a little envious, because they're like, how come she's
mm,
doing that and I'm not, or I don't get to
mhm,
turn that very powerful sentence around of, I get to. Like today, I
mm,
get to do this. I actually say I get to go to work. Like I do. I get to go to work. I get to record. I get to meet interesting people. I get to do this.
mm, mhm. Yeah, that's
But
amazing.
yeah, but it's just, the way that people will frame a sentence, or if I my kids, I usually say, especially to my kids, I'm like, wait a minute. If there's a rant going on, I'm like, you need to stop and put your period. Like, well, I don't know, I really want to, but I'm like, okay, stop. I really want to. What, like, I'm going to get the job. I'm going to get the job, period. End your sentence. Make your statement. Not, I'm going to get the job, but they're probably going to give it to somebody else. Or stop yourself. Listen to how you're speaking, and you can make your statement the declaration. Again, and that does go back to
Mm,
my secret and my law of
mm,
attraction. I'm a firm
mhm,
believer. Watch what you say. But
mm,
at the same time, practice really what you say, and then stick around for the miracles.
Yeah, I love that. Stick around for the miracles.
Yeah.
Yeah, the um the ability to consciously choose your language, your words, is
Mhm.
really powerful,
Mhm.
because it is one very um, n- crucial component of creating a reality, isn't it?
Again, it took me a long time to learn this. That said, I'm still very quick to, if I do a misstep, if I, made a mistake or something, I am the quickest in my head to totally berate me, like, Stephanie, what the hell? Like, what are you thinking in here, in here, in here? And it takes a little while. I'm like, okay, you didn't say anything like that out loud. Now stop the nonsense. And, oh, okay, good. We fixed it. All fine.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's a constant practice.
It's an ongoing, constant practice, even
Mhm,
when you have embodied that knowledge, and that knowledge becomes innately
mhm.
a measure, or a quality that you live up to, if you will, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a conscious choice. Okay, I really like that, and I do think that it's really powerful, because it does, from a health and well-being perspective,
Mhm,
minding your language
mhm.
is equal to minding your vibration, the the quantum physics of your being,
Yep.
or another way to say that, of your soul.
Mhm,
So what are you transmitting into the world? How are you inviting the world to relate and have a relationship with you? Is it through that inner critic, or is it through more your heart center, which is more compassionate, and it's more kind, and it's more joyful, and it's more positive, I guess, if you
mhm,
will,
mhm.
etc. So I really like that. It really works on so many levels,
Yeah.
and that's just language.
That
That's just the words.
that's just
That's nothing
words.
else, just the
Yeah.
words. Yeah.
And people don't realize that words are tattoos. Usually, and, those tattoos will stay a little permanent for what you might have heard growing up, that one person who says the one thing and,
Mm,
calls you a little chubby or something when you're 11 years old. You don't forget that. You forget all those other great things that might have happened in your life since then, but you remember that. Words are tattoos.
mm,
I
mm.
warn people to use them very carefully. And,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, I'm just joking." No, no, no. No. No, no, no.
Can I share a story with you,
Please,
Stephanie, and
yeah.
just with the audience? I'm not going to say who, but
Mhm,
like a name, but one
mhm,
of my son's friends,
mhm,
this young lady, I think she turned 17 yesterday,
mm,
and her, um, just in the spirit of what you were saying about, a parent or a
mhm,
family member
mhm,
might say something,
mhm,
yeah. And a friend of hers bought her a, a small chocolate cake or something with a candle for her birthday as a gesture
mhm.
of love. Anyway, she took it home, and her dad took the cake off her because he felt she was too fat. And
Horrible.
I could feel my heart breaking. I
Mhm.
can't even imagine how
Yep,
she felt
yep.
in her body. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I just
And probably 70 years from now, she'll talk about that
She will
like it
remember
was
it
yesterday.
forever.
Correct.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
horrible. Yeah.
And I hope that she doesn't spend the rest of her bloody life
Mhm,
arguing with that
mhm.
tattoo in her
It's a
with that
tattoo.
tattoo
Yeah.
in her brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so interesting what we choose. And there again,
Mm,
there could be a lifetime of happy and compliments and then just that one. just
Just that
that
one.
one.
In
And
the back of her head,
in the back
always.
of the head, that 9 times out of 10, that person never even remembered what it is they said. Flip side of that, you know how you hear stories of, how teachers really like made such a difference in someone's life and things like that. I
Mm,
mean, that's it can work in a good way where you can say
yes.
something or do something to someone, just a random act of kindness that day, or
Kindness,
just
yeah.
give them that smile, or
Mm,
defend them or what have you. And you think nothing of it, probably as a kid, perhaps, it's the right thing to do. And your parents have tried to teach you that, and you did extend it. And then you find out years later what a impact that had.
mm,
So this past Easter, my cousins got married, and a girl that I went to elementary school with was a guest at the
mhm,
wedding. And I was so excited because I hadn't seen her in a long time. And so we were just sitting talking, and she remembers a lot of different things than I remember. and
mhm,
and she said something just like so kind, like, you said like you did the kindest thing to me when we were like in 4th grade, and I never forgot that. And I was
mhm.
like, wow, that's so interesting,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
all these years later. So random acts, they don't really go unnoticed. They really don't. They can be
Mm,
life-changing for the
yeah.
person that day.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you something a little
Mhm.
bit, well, maybe a little bit, not really challenging, but I just want to see how you feel about this,
Okay.
right? There is, or there can be. So, in my work as a counselor, and I do spiritual mentoring and all of that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Often, people that are awakening to spirituality, or awakening to seeing the world in a different way, it's more of who they are and more of that holistic lens, will say things like, I can't get angry because that makes me a bad person. It's not spiritual. I can't think negative thoughts because that's not like spiritual. I want to know, or, well, I do. I want to know, I want to ask you, with this, uh, mindset, and being mindful of the energy and thoughts and state of being that we want to be in the
Mhm.
world,
Mhm.
is there room to acknowledge the pain, the negativity that's inside, or is it just, um, what's the right word? Disowned at in the second that it surfaces. Tell
So
me about that,
I
if you
can
understand the
I did
question.
I did understand the question. I think I understood the question,
Yeah.
yeah, and I can tell you from my perspective,
Mm,
um, I am human. Uh,
mhm,
now I'm going to start with, I certainly wasn't raised with enlightened parents.
mm,
So I have a foundation. I
okay.
have beliefs that were definitely put upon me at a very early age.
Mhm,
And granted, lived that way for a while, but I also always knew there was a little more. I always knew there was
mm,
more for me, even though, quite honestly, my parents didn't believe it. I knew it.
yeah, yeah,
So I was always looking for more, and maybe not settling for just because they said so.
mm.
S-
Yeah,
but I have years of
mm,
learned thoughts, years of learned behavior. I'm a door slammer. I will walk away if I something I don't like. It's
mm,
it's yeah, mm, it's in your being. It is
yeah,
because I wasn't, again, raised in line, nor were my children, because
mhm,
again, my journey came um after they were here. So they get a
Yeah.
better part of it. They got more years. They got exposure that I certainly didn't get. But they didn't get 100% of, wow, Stephanie's got it together. You know, they didn't get 100% of, you know, kumbaya at all. So, yeah, no, I strive, but there's no gold star days on that. There isn't, because you know, people are just going to be people. And I could read, you know, and now with between the amount of information that's at our fingertips, that surrounds your brain, and you're reading words without hearing tone or inflection, and you're like, what, and then you write a whole story in your head that hasn't happened because you read some words on a screen. So
yeah.
it's easy to revert. But I think I'm getting to the point, and a little better, because I don't like that feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't stay. I try and be like, girlfriend, get yourself together. Let's go. It's, you know, let's remember, take a breath. I'm good for just like a pause. Let me pump my brakes a minute, and let's really think about, is this worth getting agitated over? Or is this person doing the best that they can? Or maybe I can do better. But yes, absolutely. The human part of it. And again, you know, being raised at a very different time with very different beliefs of parents, and no, I'll still,
and I guess that
handle like everybody, and I can.
Yeah. And just on that, I guess we're not just inheriting the conditioning that's being passed on from our parents. We're actually inheriting like ancestral energy at our, you know, at that cellular level. So there's a lot of stuff that we could be reliving that we are given the opportunity to transmute and neutralize in terms of those old emotional patterns and belief systems, and old mental patterns and belief systems, and all of those things. And having that more positive mindset is certainly one of the ways to do it, as long as it's not used as an excuse to bypass the things that need to be dealt with, right?
Oh, absolutely. You know, life is good, bad, ugly, easy and hard, happy and you know, it's just it's the whole rainbow, it's the whole spectrum. And it's really, in all of those cases, it's really how you choose to react.
Yeah. And you know, that component of choice, when you say how you choose to react, that's so important, right? Because choice suggests that A, the person's in control, B, they have a responsibility, and then also the power to make a difference, or to make it different for themselves, the experience different. And you know, that idea of choice can be so challenging for some people.
Yes.
Because they prefer to live in the energy of victim and martyr, and not opt to have a choice.
It's convenient. It can be definitely the, you know, the default. Oh my God. Man. Oh gosh, I wish I could, but I can't. Okay, we'll miss you. All right, gotta go. It's it's very easy. It really, you know, it's not. Things happen again for the reason. So it's you can just really decide and be, and again, in both directions, like, you know, that was really pretty crappy what just happened, and you know, let me take a minute to like be whatever, and then then you can come around, or not, you know, a shrug shoulder is fine. And
and so do is that group still going that you were talking about, the one that
So
was
what
birthed
yeah,
with The Secret?
so it's so funny. I mean, who gets that type of who gets that opportunity, quite honestly.
Mm,
So the therapist who had started it, really just, she just thought she would do it as a 6 week whatever, but we wanted more, so then we did like
mm,
more things, and then we would do like the life cycle, and then we would do, like, she taught
mhm.
us, you name it, we learned it. It was just kind of going by the seat of your pants type thing, and then we just, we kept saying we're never leaving. Like, we started with her. She had this small apartment on Main Street, and we sat in her front room. Then she got office space, so then we went to the office. Then she got married, and we went to then she had children. Then they bought a house, and we went to that off. Like, we were
Oh
never
my
leaving,
God.
never leaving. And then her practice
Wow.
really took off. So yeah, so she definitely evolved, and has a wonderful practice now, um and with a lot of different therapists. And so we dissolved that. And but then I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do home on a Tuesday night? I've never been home. What happens on Tuesdays? I have no idea. So some of the women from that group, one in particular, my friend Michelle, had read the book by Lynn Taggart called The Power of Eight. And that is a
Oh.
prayer group that you get 8 people together and you pray on one specific thing. So Michelle, very curious, picked, asked a few of us, three of us knew each other, and then the other 3 people didn't. We didn't know them, but Michelle was the catalyst, and so we started that 3 years ago. So on Monday nights,
Mm,
we now do the Power of Eight, which is this really phenomenal prayer group, um, that we have seen such powerful results. So I think,
mm,
my thirst for probably like just spirituality, and belief,
mm.
just keeps me going. And I'm very, very fortunate to do it in a group setting
Yeah,
where it's great energy. Speaking of energy, it's great energy, but it's just such a safe place.
right.
If anyone is ever in a trip fall situation, it's just wonderful to know that you can do it there, and you'll be lifted.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are others to hold you up in such a gentle, beautiful way.
Very, very supported, and believe me, the my level of gratitude is not lost on any of it. I'm extremely,
Mm.
extremely fortunate.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah, that sounds really amazing.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you about, is there a topic that's close to your heart that you want to share with us? Because one of the things that
Ooh, I love
I,
that. Mm.
that I sort of get from you is this energy, this idea, this passion about the fact that it's never too late. You
Mm.
can literally do anything you want at any age. Um, and I just wondered, I wanted to ask you.
So, I said earlier that I want to say, believed in me more. Um,
Mhm.
Even though I'm sure that it wasn't true. I'm sure they did believe, but I didn't get that feeling. But I
Yeah.
always knew, like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And I think, again, the pivoting point for me at 24, losing my mother, was I want to get every ounce of this lifetime
Mm,
in. And I want to do all the things I've ever wanted to do, because I don't know how
mhm,
much time I had. So in my 20s, after I lost her, in my 30s as a motherless daughter and a motherless mother. And into my 40s, I lived as though I was going to die at 52 because that's when she died.
Right.
So I always had that scenario going in my head. And that's what, at that time, I was on a different timeline. Like
Yeah.
I was checking boxes off because, and not very consciously, I might add, but I
Right.
had my list to go on and let me, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then, as I approached 52 and obviously waking up on my 52nd birthday and 53rd birthday, and I was like, okay, nope, you're not going to be like her. I get it. Now, what do you want to do? Not what do it was a what do I get to versus what do I have to, because of the timeline that I thought I was on. But when it shifts to now, what do I get to do? Well, I've always wanted to do this and I've always wanted to do that. But just because I get these wonderful, wild ideas in my head and they come by the thousands, doesn't mean I execute every one, because
Sure.
it might spend a lot of time in my head. Who do I think I am? What makes me think I can do this? But I do look at most anything, like I'll watch any DIY show, and I'm like, they just built a house. I think I can build a house. Okay. And I'll go and I'll get the lumber and I'll get the power saw. And I'm like, what makes me think I can do this? But then I'll try and then I'll video. And so I can definitely create, but sometimes I do overestimate my ability, which makes me laugh. And then I call in professionals. I can I'm good at conceding. I'll be like, well, isn't that a funny, didn't that work out well? I can see why they charge so much, because this is not easy.
Oh, you're so cute. I love that. That's really good. And again, I mean, it just touches what you're saying, just touches on this idea that we somehow have to be perfect,
Ugh,
or
please.
somehow I
No.
don't like failure to be perfect is somehow like a death sentence,
Yeah.
and that we can't make mistakes and all of that. Like, just no, go
Yeah.
give it a go. If you
What's
suck
the
at it,
worst?
don't do it again. Have a little laugh and move on.
It makes a great story, number
Yeah.
one. I mean, and then what you think might be a failure, so many people will look at you and be like, wow, I can't believe you had that opportunity or you even tried. Years ago, I had a craft business with one of my best friends, Celeste, and we both sewed. We were so ahead of our time in the products we would sell, and we decided we were going to pitch QVC, the shopping network, with one of our products. And we found out that they have this open call, and you can, go get discovered, whatever. And then it's 3 states away in Pennsylvania. So we did that. We went in the night before and we stood on the line and with tens of thousands of other people, and we pitched a product. Did they take it? No. Did we see that similar product on getting sold 3 years later? Yes. We didn't have a patent. There was nothing special about it. It's just we just thought who we were. Was it a failure? Oh God, no. It was.
Yeah.
How else were we going to know? It's my husband has auditioned for Everyone's Got Talent, America's Got Talent twice, and again he goes into a room and sings it. Why not? Why not? My family was on a cooking show with Gordon Ramsay a couple of summers ago. We were in Hollywood.
Oh, wow.
That was crazy. That was all my husband. But at the time, but who gets to do that? It's fun, and it's okay. As long as it's not, no one got hurt in the process during the filming of anything. As long as that. No animals were. It's okay. Then it's how else are you going to know? I mean, everything is
Mm.
automatic no if you never ask. So how are you going to know if you're not really good at? Guess what? I'm not good at beer pong, guys. My kids tried to teach me. I can't hit that cup if you had a gun to my head. But I didn't know that until I tried. Some of my friends are
Yeah.
great at beer pong. I'm like, knock yourself out. You don't want me on your team.
That's hilarious. Even just beer pong and 60 something in the one sentence. Like that's just
Mom loves the beer pong. What else is new?
yeah.
What news? Okay, I'll just stay over
As
here.
you do. Yeah. Amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just having a look. We're at 1 hour, Stephanie. Can you believe it? This has
It
gone
feels
so
like we
quick.
just started, right? Isn't that
Yeah.
crazy? That's
Yeah.
what easy conversation is with good people.
Yeah. I know. I am totally yeah, there with you. So, how about we start closing this conversation now? And in closing, I would like to invite you to tell us a little bit more about your podcast. So, if anyone's interested, they can go
That would
and
be
listen to
wonderful.
Joy Found Here.
So Joy Found Here, anywhere you hear your pods, that's where we're at. We're very
Mhm,
fortunate. Apple, Spotify, iHeart,
mhm,
Amazon, you name it, we're there. And we would love, jump on in and subscribe. And joyfoundhere.com is the website. We welcome all our comments there. We're putting up some blogs now, and it's been such a great time, and I can't wait to see where else it takes us. Um, Facebook, I usually hang out on.
mhm.
I'm just Stephanie Rivera there. I think I am. I never know what name I'm using anywhere, which it turns into be a little bit of a problem. But on Insta, at Stephanie Martinez Rivera, and yeah,
Mhm.
those are my social handles. Some LinkedIn, but I resist LinkedIn a little because it's just one
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, one more thing, right? Yeah,
One
to add.
more.
Um, is this a weekly podcast?
Every Tuesday.
Every
Every
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yep,
Okay.
we're up to 107 episodes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was really, I was happy. I was going to be happy with one, because then I could say
Mhm,
I did it, and I could, I showed myself that I can, which
mhm.
is, I think maybe that's really how I do go through life is, can I or can I? I don't know. I'm never going to find out unless you try. So
Yeah.
I did the one and did a few more, and man, they gave me a microphone. I love it. It's like when you give me a
Mm,
tiara, I wear it for days. It's yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really amazing.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And any last words, any wisdom you would like to
Um,
share just from,
that's
your heart to us?
you know what? I'm a lover of life and a lover of people. And every day everybody's doing the best that they can. Just,
Mhm.
be kind. That's all. Just be kind.
Be kind. Yeah. Amen to that. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just takes an extra second or two of
That's it.
mindfulness
And you never
to
know,
be.
that smile that it's free. It's free.
Mm,
But it
mhm.
could really just turn it around. And not that you went out to, deliberately serve, but I do. Like, I'm really appreciative, and I'm like, "Come on,
Mm,
God works through you, and hey, what do you got for me today? What should I be doing? Talk to me."
yeah.
And yeah, he never disappoints either, so
That's wonderful. What a way to choose to be,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, wonderful.
Absolutely.
And on that note, I really want to finish this conversation on that really high note and inspiration. You've left us with this wonderful energy.
This has been a delight. Thank you so much.
I'm so, so grateful that we made this work finally today. That's
I think we were quite determined. So yes,
yeah,
bravo to us.
Yes, absolutely. And again, just to remind the audience that we will be sharing Stephanie's bio and all the links and everything below. So please feel free to connect, to support Stephanie in her work and the goodness that she's sending out on the daily into the world, and all the prayers and all the wonderful being in service to humanity, um, uh, ways of being that you offer to the world. So thank you to you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now, Stephanie, just stay in the studio if you don't mind, and I'll just close this episode, and then we can just have a little chat afterwards when we finish. Okay?
I'm here.
All right. So thank you again, and we'll see
This was
you
fun.
next time. Okay. So, to the audience, thank you so much for being with us. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you supporting this podcast. Of course, there'll be a little link below. If you want to support the podcast, you can just buy us a coffee. It's really easy. There's a little link, and you literally just buy a coffee. Anything that we raised through those donations will just go into supporting this podcast and its function in the world. So I want to thank you for being here. Feel free to share, to chat. I hope these conversations start a conversation for you in your world. Maybe plant a little seed about some things that maybe you can think about, maybe changing your perspective in some way, whatever it might be. And in the spirit of, Stephanie's work, being in joy and being in positivity, may this serve you in its highest possible way. So thank you again for being here. Much love, and we'll see you next time.